This book today is called The Emperor's Egg by Martin Jenkins and illustrated by Jane Chapman. I love this story, and it comes from Antarctica, actually. Some of our neighbors went on a trip to Antarctica and brought us this book back. It's a great story. Down at the very bottom of the world, there's a huge island that's almost completely covered in snow and ice. It's called Antarctica. It's the coldest, windiest place on Earth. The weather's bad enough there in summer, but in the winter, it's really horrible. It's hard to imagine anything actually living there. But wait, what's that shape over there? It can't be. Yes! It's a penguin! It's not just any old penguin either. It's a male emperor penguin, the biggest penguin in the world, and he's doing a very important job. He's looking after his egg. Male emperor penguins are about 1.3 meters tall. The females are a little smaller. Now, he didn't lay it himself, of course. Male penguins can't lay their own eggs. His mate did that a few weeks ago, but very soon afterwards, she turned around and waddled off to the sea. That's where female emperor penguins spend most of the winter, swimming about, getting as fat as they can, eating as much as they can, and generally having a very nice time, as far as we can tell. Emperor penguins mainly eat fish, squid, and tiny shrimp-like animals called krill. Interesting. So the mama penguin lays the egg and then goes off for the winter. And the daddy penguin, let's see what he does. Which leaves the father penguin stuck on the ice with his egg. Now, the most important thing about egg sitting is stopping your egg from getting cold. Inside the egg, a penguin chick is starting to grow. If the egg gets cold, the chick will die. That means it has to be kept off the ice and out of the wind. And what better way to do that than to rest it on your feet and tuck it right up under your tummy, which is just what the father penguin does. Do you see how he has the egg tucked up under his belly? Up by his belly on top of his feet? And that's how he'll stay for a whole 2 months until his egg is ready to hatch. Can you imagine carrying an egg on your feet for 2 months? Can you imagine it? Standing around in the freezing cold with an egg on your feet for 2 whole months? Female emperor penguins lay 1 egg in May or June, which is the beginning of winter in Antarctica. What's more, there's nothing for the father penguin to eat on land. Ooh. So that means 2 whole months with an egg on your feet and no supper. I don't know about you, but I'd be very, very miserable. And because he's egg sitting, he can't go off to the sea to feed. He doesn't have breakfast or lunch or even tea. Luckily, the penguins don't seem to mind too much. They've got thick feathers and lots of fat under their skin to keep them warm. And when it gets really cold and windy, they all snuggle up together and shuffle over the ice in a great big huddle. Most of the time, the huddle trundles along very, very slowly. But sometimes, when the penguins get to a particularly slippery slope, wonder what happens. Sometimes when they get to a particularly slippery slope, they slide down on their tummies, pushing themselves along with their flippers, always remembering to take care of their egg and trying hard not to bump into each other. And that's how the father penguin spends his winter. Until one day he hears a chip, chip, chip. What do you think that sound is? Let's find out. Even though the males keep the egg tucked right up under their tummies when they slide, it sometimes rolls out and breaks. Oh no, that would be so sad. Let's see what that chip, chip, chip sound is. His egg is starting to hatch. It takes a day or so, but finally the egg cracks right open and out pops a penguin chick. Now the father penguin has 2 jobs to do. He has to keep the chick warm and he has to feed it. The chick is only about 15 centimeters tall at first and much too small to keep warm by itself. I would love to see a newborn baby penguin. But on what? Oh wait. And he has to feed it. So that was the last thing. Let's see. But on what? The chick is too small to be taken off to sea to catch food, and it can't be left behind on the ice. Well, deep down in the father penguin's throat, there is a pouch where he makes something rather like milk. And that's what he feeds to his hungry chick. How interesting. The father penguin can only make enough of the milky stuff to feed his chick for a couple of weeks. But just as he's about to run out, a dot appears on the horizon. It gets closer and closer. And yes! What do you think that dot is? It's Mom! She starts trumpeting, hello! And the father penguin starts trumpeting, hello! And the chick whistles. The racket goes on for hours, and it really does sound as if they're incredibly pleased to see each other. Every adult penguin has its own special call, like a fingerprint. Chicks have their own special whistle, too. So that is how they find each other after being away from each other for so long. They trumpet their special sound, and chicks give off their special whistle. I love it. As soon as things have calmed down, the mother penguin is sick, right into her chick's mouth. Yuck, you might think. Yum, the chicks think. And it gobbles the lot down. It's the mother's turn to look after the chick now, while the father sets off to sea for a well-earned meal of his own. About time, too. So did you guys catch that? The mom actually kind of throws up a little bit into the baby's mouth, and that's how he eats. How would you feel about you eating your mom's throw up? That would be how I feel. But isn't it wonderful how these penguins survive and are made? I love science and animals and learning all the different roles and responsibilities. If you were a penguin, what would your trumpet sound be? Hope you like this story, The Emperor's Egg.